I had suspicions she was starting to spend time with someone else. However, I didn't think too much of it, as I thought, oh no, she's an innocent girl and would never, for whatever reason, do such a thing given how good our relationship was. Wrong. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going to go over a story titled, My Girlfriend Cheated on Me with Her Ex-Boyfriend, Got Pregnant, and Made Me Believe the Child Was Mine. And guys, this story is about a guy, he's 25 years old, and ultimately he has the boss move of kicking both his girlfriend and her baby out of his apartment after finding out that she was not only a liar and a cheater, which he actually already knew, but that the baby wasn't his. But before he did that boss move, he made a lot of big mistakes that a lot of young guys make because they don't know any better. You're going to see this story, guys. He started dating her. He was out of college, establishing himself in his career, and got involved with a gal in college who lived in the dorms and all that. And you're going to see didn't take too long for things to go south and her to cheat on him. But unfortunately, he bought into her BS, the waterworks and all that, and took her back. And once a cheater was a cheater, she pulled the same crap again and again. And then you're going to see other things unravel. Now, that'd be a very good one to go over here, guys, to demonstrate, to show you guys multiple fronts why this guy was on his purpose. Mid-20s, out of school, establishing himself, doing well, on the path, and then he starts dating this college girl. And look what derailed all his plans with her, the drama, the turmoil, the pregnancy, all that. As well as, I say, always once a cheater, always a cheater. I didn't make up that line, but you get the point. Amongst many other things, you can't be involved with someone like this. Someone cheats on you, they're going to do it again. And by you letting it go, buying into the waterworks, that just gives them a free pass to do it again. And you see this all the times in the stories I go over. And how just one bad decision can derail all your plans. This is very important. I want to go over here. So it starts off, he says, I, a 25-year-old male, got cheated on by my 22-year-old girlfriend with her ex-boyfriend, and she made me believe the baby she was carrying was mine. There's a lot of events that preceded the said event of me being made to believe I was going to be a father. I met this girl about a year and 6 months ago. The relationship kicked off nicely. Well, they usually do. It's called the honeymoon period. She was a nice girl, at least I thought, and she was very pretty too. Our relationship was smooth sailing in the beginning, although we had issues here and there like any other couple. She was staying about 30 to 40 minutes away from my place. I am already a young professional who has already finished school and kickstarting his career. See, he's on the right path. And then started dating her. She was in the course of completing her studies in a local university in the same town. So this meant she was staying at a student accommodation residence, as they call it. And dorms or something like that. You'll remember how that setting is during college life, when students will do all sorts of nasty things to each other when they are all under the same roof. In other words, behaving like immature, drunken children. I did not have a problem with this, as she would visit me regularly, almost every week and weekends most of the time. Things took a turn for the worse when the visits started becoming less frequent, and she would always claim to be so busy, or whatever silly excuse she had at the time. Perfect example, you always pay attention to what women do, not what they say. In the beginning, they were hanging out all the time and obviously hooking up. And then things started slowing down, the visits, and she's making excuses. And sure, if it happened one weekend when she had an exam or something, fair enough. But all the time? And remember, if they're not getting it from you, they're getting it someplace else. I didn't want to be selfish and want to have her all to myself. With the little time she had to herself, considering she was a student, and most of her time outside of school she'd spend with me. That was my mistake. What he should have done was, say, look, if obviously you're so busy at school, we can't see each other anymore, there's really no point in continuing this relationship, but hey, I wish you the best. That's what he should have done, instead of just being like, okay, and taking whatever she gave him. The visits became less frequent, and this bothered me as time went on, because I had suspicions she was starting to spend time with someone else. Trust your gut, gentlemen. However, I didn't think too much of it, as I thought, she's an innocent girl and would never, for whatever reason, do such a thing given how good our relationship was. Wrong. There is no such thing as sweet and innocent. I later discovered that she'd been secretly meeting up with one of her ex-boyfriends who goes to the same college as her. There you go. How I found out I would need to write another Reddit story. I confronted her about it, and she had no choice but to admit the truth, as I presented her with an overwhelming amount of evidence proving the fact. At this point, I also found out they had slept together, and I just wanted to know why. You are never going to get a straight answer out of her about that. And why did she betray my trust like this, and what led her to said incident, as I had been nothing but good to her? That was probably the problem. He was no doubt nothing but good to her, probably too good to her, thinking that she's all sweet and innocent. He probably put her on the pedestal, kissed her butt, that nice guy. And what happens to those nice guys? She insisted she was in a bad space and needed someone to talk to, and one thing led to another, and she was sorry. Yeah, I could really tell through her actions how sorry she was. And the whole, I was in a bad space, or I was in a bad place. How many times have guys heard that one, right? Does that give you the excuse to do what you do? If a guy did the same thing and hooked up with a girl, you don't think that she would allow that? I mean, that's like chapter 5 of the Hobag Handbook, of the bullshit excuses given to guys. She told me she would understand if I cannot forgive her of this act, and she's fully aware how wrong of her that it was, and she would understand if I want nothing to do with her. She said that on purpose. She knew darn well this guy would take her back. I should have listened. I should have listened to her then. Because what is about to follow is a series of events that led to her making me believe the child she was carrying was mine. We talked things out, and she apologized, and I had fully forgiven her for this, as she was sincere and sorry about what she did. Smack! Bullshit. She cried and gave you the waterworks and told you what you wanted to hear, knowing darn well you'd take her back, and she's like, okay, now it's business as usual. I'll go back to hooking up with that guy. Fast forward to 3 months later, we find out she is pregnant. Oh, imagine that. Surprise. At this time, she has told me that she cut all communication with her ex-boyfriend, and they weren't in contact in any way. Ah, imagine that. I later discovered that she had told him about the pregnancy. However, did not tell him that she was actually in a relationship and there is a potential father of this child, as she already knew that what she had done. Well, obviously she's going to go to this guy because he has a job and he's dependable and he's a nice guy, because the guy she obviously was hooking up with didn't have that criteria. I confronted her about this, and she confessed that she contacted him. Yes, but her reasons were that she wanted him to back off so she can continue living her life with me, who is the father of her child and partner. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Smack, smack. That's 2 strikes. Again, this shows her, okay, I can cheat on him, I can lie to him and bullshit him, he's still going to put up with it. And it's unfortunate because this guy obviously is a good guy, but he's just young, naive, inexperienced, and he is puttying her hand. Not to mention, this is derailing his progress into this world. I will now fast forward to when the baby was born, and I went to visit them soon weeks after she went into labor. I spent time with them, and everything was nice. We were happy that we were having a baby, and I was super excited of the idea that I am now a father. Dude, are you out of your mind? With a woman that's cheated on you, lies to you repeatedly, you obviously can't trust, you're excited about that? How about a freaking paternity test immediately? Why wasn't there a request for a paternity test the second you found out, given her track record of being dishonest and lying and cheating? It says here, there were conversations preceding her going into labor between us pertaining to the paternity of the baby, and I explicitly asked her, is there by any chance I'm not the father of this baby? Well, the fact that he is wondering tells you everything. She reassured me that I'm the father and I should not be worried about me not fathering the child. Yeah, sure. Also, I was not about to question a heavily pregnant woman about the paternity of what could potentially be our baby. That made me feel horrible, and I stopped questioning her about this. Well, watch what's going to happen to you, nice guy. Coming back to when the baby was born, 2 months after the baby was born, I later discovered that she had again rekindled her relationship with the said ex-boyfriend, and she was bringing the child for him to see behind my back. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Mind you, this guy does not know that there is already an existing father of the baby. At this point, I catch her in the act, and the whole lie is uncovered. We fight over this, and I request a DNA test done so we can finish this and rule out any uncertainty. It is about time, dude. You should have done that immediately. Or you should have kicked her to the curb immediately after you found out she was cheating on you, and you wouldn't be in this predicament. We continue to be a couple and raise the baby together. However, I told her it was only fair for the other alleged father to also contribute towards the maintenance of the child until all the facts are on the table, as I've been the one supporting them throughout her pregnancy and postpartum. Yeah, do you think the other guy really has money to spend? This happens for a period of about 2 months before the DNA test is done. You wait another 2 months for that? Early this year, the results came out saying that I am not the father of the child. Shocker. I'm distraught, to say the least. I'm disappointed in myself and for putting so much trust in one person who did nothing but break it and my heart into pieces. I have since kicked them out of my place with her child and told them they can go live their happy lives with a newly found family. Hallelujah, this guy finally grew a pair. Look at all the bullshit he had to go through to finally do what he should have done in the beginning. And I love it. He didn't just kick her out, he kicked her and her baby out too. It's not his responsibility. Now here's a question that I'm wondering about. And I was wondering about the first time I read this. What about the birth certificate? Is his name on it? This is an important question. To be honest, this hurts me so much. I don't go a day without thinking about them. I've already formed a solid bond with what I thought was my child, not to mention my said girlfriend. All the life I knew and was preparing myself for is all gone. I'm miserable as F-U-C-K. So that is the end of his story, and I'm going to say a few things before I read some comments. Now, yeah, that sucks, and he's hurt and heartbroken, and yeah, she certainly took her time so he could establish a bond with the baby, and that would be harder for him to do what he did, but he still did it anyway. But his life is not over. He's 25, okay? Yeah, he fell in love with her and he's heartbroken, but she showed who she was multiple times. He still kept forgiving her and taking her back. This guy obviously didn't have a whole lot of life experience and certainly didn't watch content like mine. I'm sure he is now, I hope. But the important lesson here is, guys, this guy was just starting his path in life, establishing as a young professional, his career, gets involved with some bimbo from college, and look what happens. Okay, that definitely, I'm sure, had an impact on his job and how much money he spent on her and the baby and all that, you know? I mean, for God's sakes. And as I say all the time, once a cheater, always a cheater. He kept forgiving her and giving her a second chance, and people like that, they see that kindness as weakness, and they'll just keep pulling the same bullshit over and over again. If you don't think I'm right, if you're new to the channel and think that I'm just a cynical middle-aged asshole, fine. Do what these people do in these stories and watch what happens to you. You see patterns here when you do these videos all the time that I do, cover these stories, and plus my life experience. So this guy, all he has to do is just take it day by day. I contact a freaking lawyer and find out if his name is on the birth certificate, what can be done, or any things that can come back and haunt him. And do not, under any circumstances, take her back, no matter how much waterwork she has, no matter how much crying she does. She may do some crazy shit, like show up at his work with the baby and say he abandoned his baby and all that stuff. I've heard stories like this, so he should be very well prepared about any crazy crap that can happen, you know? Because at the end of the day, who are people going to believe, him or some crying mother with a baby? Think about that. And do not get back with her no matter what. Now some comments here, because they're definitely warranted. One guy says here, did you sign the birth certificate? If you did, you need a lawyer yesterday to get your name off it before the time limit runs up. And she wises up to this and takes you to court for support. Oh, she's going to try. You bet your ass she's going to try. Another guy says here, after all the lies and cheating precede the birth, it seems inconceivable why you would not have had the DNA test done upon the birth of the child. Right. Why would you have believed anything this woman had to say, and you do not say you were blinded by love, other than showing total being naive? I cannot see how you could possibly believe anything this woman said. Because he was in a love fog, that's why. Another guy says, no good deed goes unpunished. You gave a cheater a second chance, and you were repaid with lies, deception, and morally bankrupt girlfriend. You're a good person, deserves so much more than a cheater. The feeling will pass. Don't let her back into your life. If you sign the birth certificate, ensure you have it legally changed. Well, I certainly hope that can happen, but I don't know how it works, depending on where he lives, that type of thing. But look how much his life's gone to hell in a handbasket because he got involved with this chick. Another guy says, you were blinded by your love for your ex and then what you thought was your child. I'm guessing your world came crashing down when you got the results. It will take time to get over the hurt and betrayal. Take time to heal and move forward. I'm sure you will find a woman who truly loves and respects you. Hold on, buddy. The last thing this guy needs right now is another chick in his life. He needs to do some serious healing and deal with this problem, because this is not going away anytime soon. Then down the road, if he wants to go down that path, he needs to do a lot of learning about human nature and standing up for himself and how people can take advantage of you before you can consider getting another relationship. And last one guy says, well, you're not on the birth certificate. You kicked out a lying serial cheater who played you for a fool. You've received a lot of low-cost life experience. You're healthy with a new career, and you have your whole life ahead of you. Well, okay, we can be positive here, but it ain't going to be that easy for him, but I do wish this guy the best. So, bro, not that he's going to see this, but if he happens to see it, you messed up, kept taking her back. A lot of guys have done the same thing, but don't do it anymore. Take a day at a time. Contact a lawyer. It's worth every penny. And be wary of her showing up at your doorstep, showing up at your work. I'd even let some of your coworkers or boss know some crazy chick could show up at your place. I've heard stories like this. Expect things on social media trashing you, all sorts of stuff. Be prepared. I've heard crazy shit happen that these gals do when they're desperate and they see their nice guy sucker. And I also mentioned this. Remember, guys, I say it a lot of times in my videos, when a woman establishes a certain perception about a guy, it is damn near impossible for her to think that he's changed or wised up. So she's always going to perceive this guy as the nice guy that'll always take her back. After enough waterworks and crying and begging and pleading, he'll take her back. So he can expect more of that in the future. So he has to be prepared for that and be prepared to be strong and not fall for the same bullshit. That's all I have to say. All right, guys, that was it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.